Good afternoon, traders. It's time for the market recap. Tuesday, August 11th. John Hoagland with you again. Thanks for trusting me with your time. Dan had a thing. He wasn't going to be able to make it today, so I'm covering the recap for him once again. I'm pretty sure we will see Dan's smiling face back here again tomorrow for the recap. Well, interesting trading day. I tend to overuse that word interesting. I'm trying to find a different adjective to explain how I feel about these markets. There's always just something more to learn, something always out there ready to change the markets, and I think we saw that to some degree today. Just kind of going over some of the news. There was a little bit of a perfect storm that was kind of stacked up against our equities. I don't know if you've been able to tell. I've been a little bit unfriendly, I think, towards continuation on the upside of the S&Ps, and it certainly has paid off for us today if we were headed in the right direction. So, number one, was a little bit of an uptick in rates today. We saw bonds and notes all kind of heading to the downside. A little bit of an uptick in rates. I think that was part of the reason why our metals got hit so hard today, other than technical reasons. We also had the stimulus package seem to be stalling in Congress. It says Mitch McConnell has said that they've kind of broken down as far as talks are concerned. So that's not good news, of course, for everybody. And then, what was the other thing that they were talking? Apple. Some of our tech stocks were off about 1.5% today. So all of that stacking up against our markets today. Our equities the S&Ps looked like they had that all-time high in sight, unable to get there, unable to take out the overnight high. Buyers just backed off and turned that market really, really quickly. It only took about a half an hour for us to take out our range and then extend that range considerably. I think it even affected crude oil. Crude oil was higher, was looking like it was going to find support at that weekly kickoff high. We had some overnight longs in that market, and they were unable to attract new buyers up at that level. Therefore, the market comes right back down to trading settlement. Just kind of looking at the markets, there were no new buyers after the open this morning. Overnight longs took that price right back down below weekly kickoff high, and then even back down through settlement. The S&Ps could not find the buyers to get that price back to that all-time high. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. They bail. We had lower. The Nasdaq has been kind of hinting at weakness over the past 3 to 4 sessions. We've been putting in lower highs. We've been putting in lower lows. We've been putting in lower value. Is this a bull flag forming for the Nasdaq? We'll take a look at that shortly. Or is there a possible market state change for the time being in this market? Gold accelerates off that all-time high, tests almost straight back to the previous all-time high. We're going to see that on the charts. The euro overnight long liquidation, basically right back to settlement. Nothing major as far as any changes in our currencies. Japanese yen overnight adjustment back to settlement, finds sellers, and takes price back to a previous weekly kickoff level. We'll see all of these in the charts very shortly. Welcome everybody. Make sure you like, share, comment, question, feedback, heckling are all welcome, of course. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can get notifications when we do go live. I know we've been saying this for a while. I know we have some plans on coming in and doing more live stuff throughout the day, breaking news, breaking market kind of stuff. So we'll start to do that soon. We had big plans to do that when we were in the office. Of course, now everybody's working from home. It's a whole new process for us to be able to do that. But we'll look forward to possibly doing that for you. Good afternoon, Tanya. First in the room, you win the prize. Kevin Scott, Yoshwin, Nick Mo, finally some action. Yes, Sarah, good afternoon. Alan, Joshua, good to see you. And LT, as always, good to see everybody up and at 'em. So if we would like to, let's take a look at the charts. Level 2 took out his frustration on the market with a plan, of course, hopefully that paid off for you. Why don't we go ahead and dive into these charts and take a look at what happened today, technically. So here's the daily and crude. We still kind of stuck in this range here. We took a look above it earlier, unable to accept back above that 42.20 level here. Okay, we had some pretty decent volume today. It'll be interesting to see how open interest changes in some of these markets between yesterday and tomorrow. And tomorrow. So here's settlement was down here. If you remember, we had some considerable overnight longs here. We took out the overnight high. We were unable to sustain price and bring in buyers up there. It doesn't take too much to figure out that all of these longs are eventually going to bail out and take price back down to settlement. As a matter of fact, all the way back down to 41.50, which is a previous weekly kickoff level, before ending the day and possibly finding some support. Our S&Ps, boy oh boy, was looking for a day like today. Finally it came. So here we are. Here's our all-time high, 33.96.50. That is in the September contract. Looked like we had eyeballs on it early in the session. Our overnight high remains the high of this move here, which is a little bit concerning for me. I don't like to see like recent highs or all-time highs occur in the overnight session. I like to see them occur in the regular trading hour session. For the past few sessions, we've been seeing the market finally coming up and retesting that weekly kickoff, or excuse me, that overnight high. We didn't get there today. And with the benefit of some news, we finally got some relief to the downside here. Here's the 30-minute. Here we go. So settlement was here. We were holding longs. We were holding our own. We were looking like we were going to attempt to get back up to test the overnight high, as we did the day before, as we did the day before that. We were unable to do that today. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign for future. I usually don't like to see our recent highs or all-time highs occur during regular trading hours. So we did get down here. We came down. We tested below our week low that we put in on Friday. We tested basically right to it before we finally found some buyers all the way down here. It is going to be a fascinating rest of the week, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. So let's take a look at the Nasdaq now. We talked about the convergence of this trend line as well as this weekly kickoff level. Maybe a day early, but we've broken that. We've broken this trend line. It looks like we're closing below it. This could bring forth a little bit of a change in market state in the Nasdaq. Now, downside market states and sideways market states don't tend to last very long in the equities. If there's nothing wrong, these markets tend to continue to rotate to the upside. Taking a look at how today went for us, though. Here we go. Getting a little bit of a fight here. So the market opens below settlement, trades back to settlement, finds sellers, and we return to the downside. Here's what I'm talking about as far as the structure in the short term for the Nasdaq, which has been slightly different than our other equities. Okay, we've got our high here, which is another high set during the overnight session, but value high here. We've got a lower high and a lower low, value lower, lower high, lower low, value lower, lower high, lower low, value lower. We've got a little bit of a trend to the downside coming here. My question is going to be, is this going to end up being a bull flag, or are we going to end up breaking structure and maybe even consolidating between these two levels for a period of time to even out inventory? Time will tell. Time will tell. Gold, here we go. Boy, that was a heck of a move up for quite some time, blasting through our previous all-time high, 1923.70. We pushed higher Friday. We had a nice little pullback. That pullback now continues with a little bit of a boost in rates. And here we go, right back to our previous high. Swing high was resistant, becomes support. Another should be another fantastic and interesting day for us tomorrow. Got to put my profile on here. Thought I already did that. Apologize. So here we go. All right, so opening range, high of the regular trading hour session. That can be indicative early of seller control, and sellers were certainly in control of this market the entire session. So while you know while the weekly kickoff level here, okay, 2006 was placed relatively snugly below current price, that was for a reason. Was looking for this market to be able to hold that level, to hold structure to the upside. This is really kind of a first break of that level today, and boy, did it fail. Boy, did we get some action to the downside. Now, not only is that technical, some of that is headline driven, news driven, but it wasn't really expecting a push this far back down to this level this quickly. So we just have to see how things settle out. And again, we're going to be looking at these opportunities in the day time frame, trading what we see. Now, this morning we talked about in the euro how we're going to be watching the extremes of this area of balance for bigger opportunities. Inside this area of balance, we're going to be looking for smaller opportunities. Here's the 30-minute chart. So opening here, initially leaving the opening range at the high, the opening range falls, we return back to the low here. So really, we have a short time frame controlled market. Kind of a tough trade today because we didn't really have too many decent opportunities. I mean, we did get a look at above here. We were unable to close this gap. Didn't really line up anything with anything tremendous on the upside. By the time we got to the end of the session today, we're near the low of that balance area. If we get below that balance area and we start to build volume, I'll go with that break of that balance area. We've got a ways to go before we're going to see anything like that on the upside. And for the Japanese yen, so wasn't really looking for much here. Centrally located, central short time frame control. We got a little bit more out of this market than I thought we would. 1365 is weekly kickoff low. We had kind of a previous weekly kickoff level right here at 93.90 that we took a look below but have closed above. Here's what we looked at for the regular trading hour session. We got a little bit too short for our britches by the beginning of the London session, which traded basically right back to settlement. Settlement, value area low, point of control from the previous day. This was a target-rich environment. But certainly, if we looked for shorts there, we were certainly paid relatively quickly. And for all day, I mean, this market just continued to move lower. It looks like we're going to get a close below this 93.90 previous weekly kickoff level, but we're getting a little bit of relief from this break as we speak. So it should be another really interesting trading day for us tomorrow. And so as far as other news is concerned, there was, it was really just kind of all about it was all about the equities, about that little bit of an uptick in rates that occurred today, and how the metals came off. I think the biggest news story today is how the coronavirus stimulus package seems to be stalling now in Congress. Are they kidding? Let's get it together. Let's get something done. Let's compromise. Let's help everybody out that needs it. Please. This day in history. I try and keep things positive and light when it comes to this segment, and I'm going to continue to do that. August 11th, 1934. The first civilian convicts were ushered into Auschwitz. Excuse Please forgive me. Alcatraz. They were brought to Alcatraz. My goodness. See, here I am trying to keep it positive. 1973, hip hop is born at a birthday party in the Bronx, and the movie American Graffiti opens on August 11th, 1973. And on that note, I'm going to call this a recap. Again, my apologies for that faux pas. Was Alcatraz that they were bringing the prisoners to. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing you back here again tomorrow, hopefully. Yes, it has been a long day. I'm going to see if we have any other thoughts here. All right. What about Squawk Radio? Squawk Radio. Joshua, you've been with us for quite some time. The Squawk Radio has been gone for a couple of years. We are always looking forward to feedback and suggestions when it comes to that. If you want that Squawk Radio back, just send some feedback on that. Okay. How come you don't like seeing the highs in the overnight? Because Sarah, when there's a new high or a new low, or whether it's all-time or recent high or low, I like to see that all the participants are available to participate when we put in that new high or that new low. So like in the S&Ps last night, the volume is very low in the overnight. There's not a lot of participation. There's not a lot of ability for some of the bigger players, U.S.-based players. A lot of them are going to be, sleeping at that time to participate. So I'd like to see those new highs and new lows that happen in the overnight revisited at least during the regular trading hour session to see if there's any interest in all of the participants being at those levels. Oh, I hope that makes sense. All right. So, what else we got here? Norman, for the Forex people, interested rate decision tonight. I haven't looked at that deep into what's going on tonight, but I believe there is rate decision coming from somewhere. We can take a look and find out where that is, unless you want to let us know. Well, Sarah, just keep watching. We're going to be more situations where we're going to see that. But when we see the S&Ps for the past like 3 sessions, though the overnight has been putting in a new high, recent high, not all-time high. But the market has, I think, in 3 out of the 4 cases, or 2 out of the 4 cases, rotated back and traded just above that level to see if there's any business left to do up there. I think it's kind of a weaker high or a weaker low that tends to be revisited. All right. (10 p.m. Eastern Time), another rate announcement. Thank you, Norman. Joshua, just having fun. Looking forward to your Shark webinar. I hope it's something that you like and something that you can use. I've done that webinar a number of times. If you haven't seen it, it's certainly worth sticking around and checking out. Bad Court Kelly, keeping it light. Yes. Kinda. You're kind as always. Well, thank you, Sarah. Again, I apologize for my error this afternoon. Does anyone else take a nap after the market? I'm gonna. Boy, when we were working downtown, either in the trading pits or in the office, or I used to take the train in and back because I don't like sitting in traffic. I can find something to do with the time. Even if that time was for taking a nap, I usually found a nice 10, 15, 20, 25-minute nap while I was sitting on the train. All right. On that note, have a great evening. Stay clean, stay safe. Looking forward to seeing everybody back here for the market forecast at 8 o'clock. I'm sure I'll be fresh and sharp, sharper than I am now. And go take that nap, Sarah. I think I'm going to do the same thing. And I'll look forward to seeing you. It should be another fascinating trading day for us tomorrow. We'll see you then.